Hi there, you're with English Coach, and I'm Simon, and I'm here to talk to you today about losing your need for control. Now, over the last 2 to 3 years, I've been identifying more and more on how a need for control is something quite harmful or something weak in your life. It's something that doesn't make you stronger. It's something that causes emotional imbalance and holds you back from actually getting everything that you want. And why is that? Isn't control something satisfactory? Isn't it something that should be moderate? And isn't it something that we should hope to have a certain level of control? Now, when I say control in this case, I mean control over external circumstances. Perhaps, or one of the things that does happen is that we think that we can somehow be internally prepared or internally control ourselves for external things that go on around us, things that are not favorable to us, that we perceive as either frustrating, confusing, disappointing, or sad. And that we need to control these things somehow. And that our lack of control is something that is making us even more upset with the situation, because our expectation is there that somehow, some way, we will be able to control what's going on. And that's not a problem. That's not something you should blame yourself for, as it is completely natural to want to have that control. The thing is, if I could make a comparison between us and, for example, the Big Bang. I know it's a pretty long way to go. It's a very long way to go to compare human beings to the Big Bang. But if you think about the Big Bang from the point of view that it was this huge explosion and creation of a universe, well, basically through our lives we are like that as well. We're kind of exploding onto the earth with all of our emotions, and of course it's not all happening at the same time, but a lot of our emotions and a lot of the ways that we think and a lot of the ways that we act and our influence on the earth kind of explodes, if you like, over the years that we live on the earth. So we're almost like that, but yet we crave control in the chaos. And I think there should be order, not exactly control, but order, where you can find certain parts of your life are still intact, even after huge changes are made and big disasters or crises happen. You need to be able to depend on some parts of your life so that you can go back and see that everything's still there. You have to be incredibly strong mentally and emotionally to be able to keep starting again when you have absolutely everything ruined. So that's a point. Though one of the goals of this video specifically is to get you to see how it's possible to have things outside of your control change your reality, change your day, not for the better but for the worst, and you stay at peace with that and you accept that. When we go and study this idea of the Big Bang, this idea that there's this explosion, if you can imagine yourself as a tiny piece of that, like a tiny piece of that Big Bang just exploding and traveling for billions and billions of miles over time, and just slowly accumulating more, accumulating more, without actually disappearing, without being ruined or disintegrating, but actually accumulating and becoming stronger and more abundant, if you will. This idea is incredible because it allows you to see that if your attitude is an attitude of I could possibly be at peace without having control, you can usually attract the right things. You can usually attract very good things to yourself. And it's not just about letting go or being at peace. It's about accepting what's going on and looking at the big picture. It's not just about, oh, I can let go, I can be at peace. If you're in your company and there's a crisis happening and you're being affected by it and it's really pissing you off and it's really affecting you emotionally and mentally, but you can see that, wow, last month was completely different. Your performance was up and, the situation was much different. And these things that are happening this month are not entirely in your hands. You don't have control of them. Yet maybe you're blaming yourself for a lot of the consequences that are coming out of those things, when that's not actually helping you to become more productive or help you to attract the right solutions and the right kind of way forward. So what I'm trying to say to you is, a lot of the times in our lives, we have no control and we pretend we do. And that whole need for control is something that we're born with, and it kind of consolidates over time. But it's an illusion. No kind of control in this way, no kind of trying to control your external world is going to work. You can control your internal world. You can control your own habits and your own discipline so that you can plan your financial area, your relationships, your family time, your spirituality, your social time, your education. You can plan all of those things yourself and you can have fantastic results because you're responsible for that. But you're not responsible for 100% of those things that happen outside of yourself. So if you can't carry the idea that you are kind of part of this explosion and you are kind of traveling on this trajectory, then you're going to be fighting tooth and nail to try to get away or get off what you're on. And sometimes you don't have any power whatsoever. So you're losing time and energy, and you're getting really angry and disappointed at the results when you need to just let it carry you. And I've learned this lesson many times, and I need to keep learning this lesson because it is built into us. It's like a software that comes inside of us when we're born, that we need to try to control everything. But the more we do it in situations where there's no opportunity, the more we make the situation worse. So I hope you really understood what I'm saying today. What I'm saying today is, sometimes when you have that feeling of falling and you don't know where the ground is, this is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes when you have this feeling that you're falling and you have no control, that is the exact time when you want to start building your world. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to crash. You may scrape yourself, you may make mistakes, there may be confusion, But if you keep on doing what you're doing, looking at the big picture as you're falling, you can continue building your world, okay? Instead of going into panic, frustration, and creating more problems for yourself. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you understood this video. This is a complex idea. It's a complex idea when we lose control, or we are aware that we have no control over our external world, and where we apply that and where we shouldn't apply that. That's a good question, okay? That's a good question to ask. But it's usually, in most cases, if it's external, you need to look at the big picture and just accept it. When it's internal, then you can start doing some work on yourself. Thanks. You can like this video, you can hate it, you can send a comment, you can subscribe. Whatever it is, I will be very grateful for any kind of interaction, because this is my world, and these are the things that I love talking about. Okay? Bye.